Hello, my lovely Substack followers. Um, I just wanted to share with you again a perfect morning. We had our garden party yesterday and it was incredible. We had 2 dates for the garden party, one being the 17th of May, Sunday, and the other being Sunday the 24th. And we thought we would do it on Sunday the 17th because the meteo, which is like the weather report, had told us that um, it was going to be sun and cloud, a little bit cold, but we thought, well, that'll be okay. So we told everyone the 17th, but that for people who couldn't come the 17th, we'd have a mini party on the 24th. Well, all that got turned on its head because a couple of days before the 17th, the weather report said it was going to rain copiously in the afternoon of the garden party. So we immediately said to everyone, okay, let's switch it round. We'll have the party on the 24th because the weather promised fair, really good. Come on the 24th, but if you can't, come for a mini party on the 17th. In the end, on the 17th, it was 17 degrees Celsius. It was cold, it was raining, and we had a very mini party. In fact, there were only five guests turned up, and me and my darling. And we sat in the dining party. Charlie, get off. Charlie, Charlie. Oh, c'est mon chien. I think it's okay. He tries to find a way into my garden beds, which I have fenced off from him, and he's intelligent, and I can see exactly what he's doing. Charlie, get off. Just excuse me for a minute. Actually, I'll show you Charlie. He's gorgeous. Here he is. Hang on, my naughty boy. So, Charlie, off. This is the garden bed. It's a mock, no, it's not a mock crabapple tree. It's a real crabapple tree, and you can see the tiny apples here. Aren't they gorgeous? Getting bigger and bigger, and I will make jelly from that in the late summer. No, it's okay, Charlie has gone back. So, so it was an intimate little party. It was actually all neighbours, all French, and we sat in the dining room and we had a beautiful time just chatting about, local things. Very, very nice people. And that was the 17th. So then we get to look at my gorgeous garden. The sun is just coming up. And here's my lovely garden. You can hear all the birds. Yes, I agree, Jean. Hi, Jean. I know, isn't it lovely? I'll take you on a little tour while I talk to you. So, you'll never guess. Yesterday, the temperature was 33 degrees Celsius, almost double the temperature a week before. It was blazing hot. And luckily, as you can see, we haven't put things away. We had the tables here and everyone sat in the shade, and it was great. Now, 30 people said they would come, and the rule of thumb is that half will come. So in the end, we had 16, but there were good excuses for the ones that couldn't come, which is fair enough. But sorry, I'm a little distracted. So we had 16 people, and everyone managed to find a seat in the shade. And in fact, in the late afternoon, this gîte here cast a beautiful shade over the garden, and it was just gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. Now, we've got a heat wave at the moment. It's called a chaleur, and that's going to continue now for another few days. So, which is why I'm up really early, because I just love the garden. The garden at the moment is fresh, it's happy, but by the end of the day, it sort of flumps. It goes down in the dumps. Here's my beautiful garden here. Gina, I think your name is new to me, so do, as they say, hit the subscribe button. If you're not, actually, you must be a subscriber because you got notification. This was a gift from two dear friends. Isn't that lovely? So this here is photos, but they also gave us this, which is, I've forgotten the name. It's wonderful for keeping down pests on roses. And they gave me 1, 2, 3, 4. They've obviously grown them from seed. There's about 12 there probably. So I'm going to get around all my roses. I'd kind of given up. We have a Basque cherry tree. Now, you can see my potager, my vegetable garden here, and you can see the statue on the left. If you take an eye along to the end, very end of the potager, there's a little tree. It's virtually impossible to see from here. You can see there's a white tag on the branch. Can you see it vaguely? Anyway, that is a Basque cherry tree because we took a holiday in the Basque country. We went to somewhere called Saint-Jean-de-Luz, and it was absolutely glorious, very ancient history. It was key, unfortunately, for the nationalists in Spain during the war. They had a big sort of headquarters there, horrible people. But the cherries there, they are renowned for their cherries, and these are their black cherries, which are best for making jams, which is what I'm interested in, because I have loads of fruit to make jams from otherwise. This is our magnificent raspberry. And I mentioned to the people who listened last time that raspberries don't like each other. It's really interesting. I had a second raspberry plant that had put them side by side beside this wall, and this one was flourishing, and the other one was always a little bit sickly. So one day I had this sort of revelation. I thought, I wonder if they just don't like each other. So the other one, which was really ailing, but I put it here, far, far away, and look at it. It's flourishing. It's a little bit behind, but it's flourishing. Here's the jasmine, isn't it glorious? It smelled beautiful yesterday. That at the back here, that is a syringia or a Philadelphus, and it was beautiful before the chaleur, but the chaleur started about 3 days ago, and all the flowers started dropping, so it didn't smell as beautiful as it had, or look as beautiful as it had before. But everything seems to be surviving this heat wave. Fortunately, it will stop soon. Take a look, Jean, at my glorious. Aren't they lovely? Aren't they just beautiful? My roses here. And I call this my Renoir garden because here I need to thin these out. But these irises are, they're blue irises. They're gorgeous in about March, coming into April. Really glorious, huge bed of them. And look at that mint. That mint is flourishing. It's the best mint you ever tasted. It's beautiful. Okay. And so here, this is my shade corner. Isn't it lovely? This here is a stilby. It's a white one. It's very pretty. So everything is silver, white, and green in this corner. It's my shade corner, and I want it to look shady and green. I'm still waiting for a David Austin climbing rose. David Austin is probably the best rose breeder, one of the best in the world. He's located in Yorkshire, in England, and I'm waiting for his beautiful rose, which is named after his wife. It's called Claire Austin, and it's a climbing rose, and it's going to go in this pot here, and it's going to climb over our woodshed. And it's like 10 out of 10 for perfume. I cannot wait. They said they were going to deliver it a couple of days ago, and I think maybe they just won't deliver during a chaleur, which makes sense in case they have to leave the rose out if you're not there. Anyway, here, rhodos, still looking lovely. In the distance, little rat bag. I'm just going to wake everyone. We have my beautiful sister-in-law in French. That is ma belle-sœur. It means my beautiful sister. The French are so elegant the way they express things, and I think that's lovely. So your sister-in-law is your belle-sœur, and your brother-in-law is your beau-frère, your beautiful brother, and your mother-in-law is your belle-mère. Isn't it gorgeous? Your beautiful mother. I just think it's elegant and beautiful and very complimentary. Have a look at this, Jean. Isn't it gorgeous? Look at these roses. Just look at the heart of that. Isn't it perfection? And that one smells beautiful. These are called Australian daisies, otherwise known as origeron. Because I'm Australian, I love having them, and they're so pretty, and they will fill out the whole bed eventually. My goal, Jean, is to have an English cottage garden here in France. The French, hello, Rose, how are you? It's nice to see you. And Rose, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. Anyway, you probably already have, so look, isn't this pretty? So this is my rose, so it's my pink, deep pink, silver, and white bed, okay? And we've got these gorgeous roses here. This is a, God, I've forgotten the name. I'll remember it, but this is kind of between this rose and that rose. Now, this one here was given to me by my other belle-sœur. My husband comes from a big family, a big Catholic family. And so we have Veronique upstairs in bed. And Pascal is actually, she's wonderful. She lives in a religious community in the north of France. I'm just deadheading here while we talk. Isn't that perfection? Isn't that lovely? And she gave me this robe, Pascal, because Pascal, their religious community, they have a big plant fair, very famous every year. They're near Alsace in the north of France. And she always brings me a plant whenever she comes to stay. And she and I, we're puzzle buddies because we both love doing jigsaw puzzles. And that's our love language, if you like. So here, I got white peonies this year. Aren't they perfect? I love white peonies. And sadly, because of this damn chaleur, I didn't get this normally flowers prolifically, and you can see that hot pink. And that against this green is something else. And I planted this green one here deliberately as a backdrop for the roses. And then we got the chaleur and all the roses dropped off. But they're coming back. These poor old peonies have given up the ghost. They were magnifique, absolutely magnificent. And what else we've got here? This is amazing. This here is kind of, it grows a little, it's a bit like a triffid. It comes up every single year. It was given to me as a pot plant by a friend, and massive sort of dinner plate flowers. Against this, whose name I forget. If you know the name, please tell me right away. This species here. Anyway, it's like a giant version, and it comes up. And in late summer, it pushes out these flowers literally as big as dinner plates. They're extraordinary, and they're deep rose pink. So that comes up now. There's a little astilbe beside it. I love these soft plants here. We call them, I don't know what you call them in America, we call them lamb's ears. And, oh, Charles, oh, did you see that? That rotten little dog, he wants my attention, so he has stolen one of our crocs. Did you see that? Now, we might cut out a little bit. He's a naughty boy. He runs rabbit because he knows he's not allowed. Charlie, give me my shoe back. Give it back. Give it back, you naughty boy. Back to mummy. He wanted my attention, and that's why he did that. He's like a child. If you're doing something else, he comes up and he says, I want to play. Charlie, give me my shoe. Give me my shoe. Give me my shoe back. Now. He's going to try and kill it. I'm not too worried about this because they're very tough. Really want to brush spiderwebs against my. Have a look at the fruit. This is and magnificent plum jam. The plums here are delectable. What I do is I simply, well, generally we have it for dessert, put it in a pot, brown sugar, honey, maybe, whatever, steam slowly, perfection. And you have it with well, on its own, with its own syrup, or you can have it with, cream or however naughty you want to be. And I'm going to have to stop being naughty because I have put on a lot of weight over the course of the garden party because, of course, I did a lot of cooking and I made all these chicken pies and I had to taste everything as one does. These poor old roses, I will deadhead them. Oh, but the others come through. And, of course, plants love deadheading because if you deadhead, they say, ooh, I haven't done my job yet. I haven't spread my seed. I'll have to have another flower. So it's a good way of, no, I'll leave that one there. Aren't they gorgeous? These are heavenly. The smell is exquisite. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? Send me a heart if you think that's beautiful. You don't have to, but please send me some hearts. I need love. Anyway, these white ones are fabulous. Look at them. And again, sweet scented. A different kind of scent, almost an apricot scent. And then this is called the Désespoir des Artistes. Isn't that a lovely name in French? And what that means is the despair of the artists. And I believe, I mean, I've worked this out for myself, but I think it's because artists can't quite capture the colour. So, absolutely amazing. And look at these, aren't these pretty? Aren't they gorgeous? I love these. This is absolutely flourishing. There's a sort of golden rule of about 3 years for gardening. So you put something in the first year and you get a couple of flowers off it and then it stops. And then the second year you might get a few more flowers and then it stops. But by the third year, that's what it does. It goes, and then you're able to divide it. and then I divide throughout the garden. I've divided up there. You can see another little one through there. And because this is getting much bigger now, I will divide it again for next year. This beautiful rose, lovely scent, but looking a little tired, as you can see. But I'll leave those blooms there. All the lilies are starting to come out. I'm not a huge fan of lilies. I don't know why, but I'm not. But my predecessor, she loved lilies and she planted a lot. And they just keep, first of all, I pulled them all out, but now they keep coming back up again. So I've given up. And I'll probably just make vases of flowers with them. I've got some tall vases and they'll look spectacular. So they will have a use. Hello, Dana. Hi, how are you? It's really lovely to have you coming around my garden with me. I'm very honoured, actually. You have a huge following. Anyway, Dana, and I love your Substack posts. You're always spot on. Now, here, Jean and Rose, I recommend that you subscribe immediately to Dana Dubois. She's incredible. These are little wild geraniums. Aren't they pretty? Gorgeous. Again, more des espoirs des artistes. And this, I was a bit disappointed yesterday at the garden party because this, as you can see, is going to be huge. This is it's part of the lily family, but it's oh God, now I've lost the name. I know exactly what these are. They're orange anyway. They're bright orange and they last for a couple of days. They're daylilies actually, but there's a scientific name I've forgotten. And they're bright orange. Oh look! Can you see? That sound, that was the swifts, and they're nesting up here. You can see those little holes, and they feed as a team. So they come around, and what they do is they kind of do these feints at the wall because they're not quite ready to go in, and then finally one or two of them will go in, and they group feed. So like if there's a baby in there, like it'll have 5 or 6 people feeding it. Not people, you know exactly what I mean. Birds. Anyway, it's so pretty, isn't it? It's gorgeous. Now, this I adore. My beautiful... Yeah, so this was... Sorry, changing the subject. I am a bit ADHD, so I do apologise. But I do change the subject. If you read my posts, you'll see that my big thing is, but I digress. And in fact, on my tombstone, I'm going to have 2 things. I'm going to have only connect, because I'm the sort of person that will talk to everybody, people I don't know, and that's the way I make my dearest friends. And I would have missed out on the most glorious people in my life if I wasn't someone who said hello and made friends right away with strangers. So only connect. And the other one is Charlie, get off the bed, is but I digress, because I digress all the time. I hope that it's interesting when I digress, but nonetheless I have just digressed. For example, now these flowers, these beautiful orange flowers, so they disappointed me yesterday. I wanted them out for the garden party and they didn't quite come out, but you can see they're trying very hard. There's one just there which is trying very hard to come out, and it's going to be exquisite, or as they say here in French, exquis. Isn't it lovely? Exquis. Yellow roses. I adore yellow roses, but they're difficult. But finally, this one, I replanted it. It's always had difficulties. I replanted it, and I noticed it had 2 little, roots. So I did it in 2 bits. And aren't they something else? And the smell of this is heaven, absolute heaven. And when this comes out, we call it in Australia red hot poker. Again, I don't know the scientific name. Starts with an E. They mostly start with E's. Anyway, this is going to have these gorgeous orange red hot pokers. Hello, Therese. I'm going to turn around and say hello to everybody. Hi, everybody. I'm looking a bit tired. It was a big day yesterday. It was our big garden party, and so we had about 16 in the end. There were 30 people who promised, but it was a heat wave. It was 33 degrees Celsius, but everyone sat in the shade, and it was glorious. And you know what? Because everyone was artists, or they were artists of one kind or another, or they were nature lovers and ornithologists. And we had a guy there who's amazing. He's an expert in biodiversity, etc. Everyone had something to talk about, and they all made friends. And the thing I really loved was that at the end they were exchanging details. That's what I love. I love people. I love getting my friends together and then making them friends of each other, which is marvellous. Anyway, so where were we? So hello everybody, and I'm going back to my little garden. Here we are. So my yellow roses, which finally came up, and they're exquisite. This is this red hot poker thing. So I don't like seeing a lot of these, but just having a couple is fabulous. And this spiky is flowers as tall as these So that will be set against this grass, and then we'll have this orange. So we're going to have, you know, opposites on the colour spectrum, the orange, sorry, the blue and the orange, and then this yellow here of this little bush and of the rose. Magnifique, absolutely beautiful. Okay, everybody, have a little look at the heart of this rose. Is that not extraordinary? That's what I wake up to. See, this is why, see, nature is good, and yes, the climate is changing, but I do believe that nature is incredibly clever and it will adapt. And hopefully, people, hopefully, we will have made enough changes. Certainly in Europe, they already have. I mean, come and live in Europe, friends. If you're fed up with these bastards in the White House, come and live in Europe, because here there is sanity, except in poor Ukraine. But there is sanity here, and the French are fabulous, and the number of regulations protecting the environment are legion. This is the way we should live. It's amazing. Look at this. This is a grass. Isn't that exquisite? And these are the flowers. Now, I'll tell you a secret with these. If you see in the distance here, I'll come back to this garden over here. I bought 3 of these plants 6 years ago, and because I love my silver blues, and you can see one there and one there, and they become really thick and dense, and they look very impressive. But my third plant, isn't that magnificent? My third plant I planted in my round bed, and then it got big, and then I thought, I might divide that. I divided it 3 times. What I found is that once you divide it, you flower of the beautiful. Excuse me. So next year I will divide the hell out of those 2 because I want the flowers. They're beautiful, dense, but they're even prettier. And look at that. Isn't that gorgeous with the sun? You see, life is good, my darlings. Life is good. I know you're living in a hellhole at the moment, but we know that the man is on his way out. He will definitely not survive the midterms. And also, I don't think he'll survive physically anyway. The man is off his rocker. And his bloody enablers, none of them have the charisma, if you like, that Trump has. So I really don't think, I mean, Stephen, what's his name? Stephen, well, you know his name, Miller, bastard. He's a nothing. He's a nobody. He's a non-entity. Vance, forget it. He's as charming as the doorpost. There's no one with the charisma to get that party back into power once Trump's gone. So please take heart, and in the meantime, tend your gardens, because that's where the goodness and the nature is. And I tell you, when I'm in my garden, I feel close to God. Whatever God is a woman. Haha, no, I don't know. No, God is an energy, I believe. God is an energy. And can I just say to you all, take a little look at the Substack of someone called Julian Julius Cross. He is phenomenal. He is a tech engineer, and did you know that tech science is proving the existence of the soul and the fact that 30% of our soul goes into our human body, because if more did, our bodies and our psyches would not be able to handle it. Sorry, I'm just deadheading another rose. Isn't this exquisite? This is, again, very perfumed, and we'll go over this whole wall because this is my blue and yellow, and it's blue, yellow and white. You won't believe it now, but there's a daisy about to come up here, which is white, and then we've got beautiful white yellow rose. It's exquisite. This will pop up orange. These are these daylilies. I have forgotten their scientific name. There's Charlie. There's our Charlie. Our Charlie boy. He's a bit of a film star on my Substack. Have a look at the Charlie Chronicles if you need to know about this little criminal. He's a little criminal. That's what he is. Only I call him a criminal. And I call him a criminal because, and he commits crimes, because he is the criminal you have to love. I'm going to put my hat on. Would you believe it is getting hot already? And it's only like 8 in the morning. Hang on. Wait there. Because you're my friends, I'll show you my inside. Look at the flowers. Look at that gorgeous painting. Isn't it beautiful? Anyway, I better not do that. I shouldn't do that. Look at these roses. That's my grandma. Isn't she exquisite? That's my Australian grandma. She was a remarkable woman, and she died very young at the age of 41, which really screwed up my mother. my poor mum, who had abandonment issues from then on, so that when my twin sister left home, Mum wouldn't talk to her for a year. Can you imagine? Because she felt abandoned. She had issues, my mum, but she was a good woman. And you know what? She loved gardens. She adored gardens. And we've all of us kids, all us siblings, us have beautiful gardens because it's in the blood. And I hope it's in the blood of my dear, beautiful daughters who are in Melbourne now, but both of whom want to live in Europe near us, which makes my heart very glad. Because you know what I'm waiting for, everybody? Grandchildren. I want grandchildren, and I'm very envious of my belle sir, my sister-in-law, who's asleep up in bed. Hang on a minute, just get my party off. It's really hot. Anyway, so yeah, I'll turn around and talk to you. Hang on, where are you, my friends? There you are. Here I am, with my hat on because the sun is coming up, babies. Where was I? Yeah, my girls. I'm just so excited. One of my daughters, her name is Beatrice, and she is 28, and she's madly in love with a man she met on an app called Hinge. And Hinge is for intentional daters who want to get married. And the first guy she meets is a Chicagoan basketball player. Can you believe that? And he's travelled the world, and he wants to live in Europe, as does B. And B is a primary school teacher, and a very gifted one. She, at the age of 28, is the team leader for year 3 in a huge school where all the other teachers are in their 40s. How's that? But they don't resent her. They love her because she's got this incredible tact. She's studied psychology since she's been at school, and she just knows how to handle people. She often gives me very, very good advice because I often need it. She's an extraordinary girl. Not that we didn't have trouble in her teens, but that's when you're meant to have trouble with your kids. And B had to learn everything the hard way. You couldn't advise her, and even now I can't advise her. But she learns by herself, but she is so wise because she has worked it out for herself. She's an amazing, amazing, amazing girl, and I adore her. And then her younger sister, Annabelle, is very much the opposite of Bibi, but they are best friends, and they live within a kilometre of each other in Melbourne, in a very trendy area of Melbourne. And Annabelle, she works in communications, and she is working for a little boutique firm which promotes books and publishers and the arts in Victoria, which of course I'm very proud about. And we're hoping she just might have scored a new job with the government in Victoria for Creative Victoria, which would be amazing because that'll be great on her CV because she also wants to live in Europe near us. And that would help her a lot because it would mean she's worked for a small company, a small private company, and then she's worked for a big government concern. It sort of spreads the experience. But Annabelle is... she's a very beautiful girl. Well, they're both beautiful in different ways. B looks like me. She's got my pointy McCall nose. Annabelle looks like a beautiful Russian peasant girl. You know, she's got this incredibly curvy figure. God knows where she got it from because she didn't get it from me. I think she got it from my mother, who had a tiny waist. Annabelle has a tiny waist, big boobs, big hips, and she's got this long blonde hair, and she's got this she's very beautiful. Anyway, and I look at her, I think, where did she come from? Anyway, so Annabelle, she's been living with the love of her life, Rory, who's a New Zealander, for how many years? I think they've been living together now 3 years, but they've been together as an item for about 6, 7 years. They met, would you believe, on a bus trip in Europe, and he just fell for her. And at the age of she was 18, just turning 19. He was the first boyfriend she ever had because she didn't tolerate boys much. She thought they were all idiots, so a very healthy girl. Rory is not an idiot. I adore Rory. He and I are besties, and he helped me paint the interior of this house while Annabelle was settling in at the University in York because she wanted to make friends, and Roy's 6 years older than her, and she adored him, but she didn't want to spend all her time with him because she wanted the real university experience. So, anyway, the girls will probably kill me for telling you all their private lives, but anyway, they're in love. Bee's in love with this basketball player, and they all want to be in Europe. And I want them to have grandchildren pronto, thank you very much, because that's why we got this big house. We got the big house because I wanted to size up, not down, from our tiny apartment in Hong Kong, and we couldn't afford to do that in Australia. And now I'm very glad we didn't, because I adore France. And now my French is pretty fluent. My friends are all French. It's fab. Anyway, I am very happy. Guys, my battery, I've been told that I'm on low power, so if I suddenly tune out, that's why. Hello to Bruno. Bruno, I think you're our first guy. Yeah, hello Bruno. It's very nice to meet you. Listen to that. That means 8 o'clock. Isn't it exquisite? And so round about now, my beloved, my husband, will be getting up. We take it in turns to get up early with Charlie. That's been since he was a puppy and he would crap inside the kitchen. So, but now we get up anyway. And I love being up at this hour in this weather because it's my time alone with Charlie in the garden with the birds and with my plants and with you, my wonderful Substack followers. And I know we've never met personally, but I feel like I know you. And I know you probably feel like you know me. And especially people like Dana, we've been following each other for quite a while now. Anyway, if you guys want to come and stay here in France, you just let me know. And you could come and stay in our spare room and have a little holiday in France. Isn't it perfect? Just listen to that. Oh my God. Absolute perfection. I'm just going to let you listen to the early morning sounds here in the south of France, in the country. I'll put the garden, you can see the garden here. Look at that. A little bit of peace for you in your difficult country. I assure you, you have a very beautiful, beautiful country. I would love to take a trip around America one day. I've only been once when I was a lawyer, and I went to a big conference in Boston, and I fell in love with it. Your guys, your energy is extraordinary. And I'm an energetic person. I'm someone who likes to basically be busy and active, and I like friendliness, and every American I ever met was friendly and lovely. So you guys, you know, you're going to get rid of these bastards and then you'll go back to a new normal. But I hope it's a better normal, a much better normal. I hope you can sort out the endemic corruption in politics. Have a look at the Australian system. First of all, compulsory voting. If you have compulsory voting, you get a better result. You get a government in the middle. And that's what we've had in Australia now for some years now. They kicked out the Liberals, which are the right wing. My grandpa actually started off the Liberal Party, but it changed a lot in recent years, and it went very pro-Trump in the end. And so the Australians said, no, no thanks, and they returned the Labor government with a landslide. So that's the sort of, you want compulsory voting. The other one thing you need to do is get rid of that bloody electoral college. I have no idea how that works, and I think it's outdated, stupid, and you end up with these terrible results like you did when Al Gore, who would have been amazing for America, was ousted by George W. And isn't it strange how George W. now looks like an intelligent and a thoughtful man now in comparison to the idiot, the buffoon. It was defined on Substack the other day, and I asked if I could use it as an orange pustule. Isn't that fantastic? If you like him being called an orange pustule, send me a heart. But the orange pustule can't stop this. And we just need to act responsibly, carefully. We need to stop consuming rubbish. We need to stop buying things we don't need. That will not only get rid of the titans of industry who think they own the world, but it will also lead to a healthier planet. We need to all, I mean, you can read some of my posts. I just think that you guys could get rid of these monsters in 5 minutes flat by getting rid of the billionaires, and you do that by basically stopping consuming anything you don't really need. Just pretend you're the Brits in World War II, because you guys are actually fighting a war. And so what the Brits did is that they rationed everything. Well, you don't need to ration anything, but just if the only thing you buy is food and water and energy and meds, your medical, needs. You don't need clothes because you've already got clothes. All of us got far too many clothes. Just babies need new clothes. And recycle everything. And if you do that, the economy, well, yes, there will be loss of jobs, but that won't last long. You've just got to wait till the monsters go, and then you can carefully restructure your economy so it actually works for everybody, yeah? Particularly not the billionaires. Honestly, great wealth can only lead to great evil, in my opinion. Unless you're a really good person and you plough it all back into good things. Oh dear. Who's that guy? Gosh. I mean, we don't like Bill Gates anymore, that's for sure. He's up to his neck in the Epstein files, but he was a friend of his. He's the Warren Buffett. Now, he's my idea of someone who's actually a good person because he ploughs. He's part of that club which ploughs a lot of their money back straight into the charity, into the needs of the world. That is brilliant. But you don't want a system where it relies on good rich men or women to support charities. You want a system where all that is supported by your taxes, even it all out. Tax these guys to the limit. And then restructure everything so that you have a really good healthcare system. By God, you've got the expertise. So you need an excellent free healthcare system, a proper, excellent, highly funded education system. That's all you guys need. And then you'll change the problems in America of, frankly, centuries. It didn't start with Trump. My husband is up. I'll show you his back view. He doesn't like being on Substack. There he is. Yeah. Charlie is chewing his ankles. Guys, I better go because my darling is up. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, as ever, talking to you. I hope you've enjoyed this little glimpse into my life here in the south of France. I hope you've enjoyed the garden and the roses, and please tell people about it because it's a little bit of bliss for you in a situation that is not entirely bliss, that's for sure, in the United States at the moment. Anyway, I'm going to send you a kiss, a bisou, and I'll say à bientôt, which means I'll see you soon. Thanks so much for listening in. Bye. Ooh, Charlie, hang on, I need to turn this off. And I'm not sure how do I end.